Philosophy offers us a couple of models for deciding what to believe. One model, made famous by René Descartes, is what we might call the geometric method of deciding what to believe. Descartes famously wanted to sweep away all the detritus that came, all the philosophical detritus that came before, begin philosophy anew by identifying self-evident truths, committed himself to believing only what could be reached by deductive argument from the truths that he thought were self-evident. This should remind you of high school geometry. That's one way of proceeding. It's a very ambitious way of proceeding, a very ambitious way of deciding what to believe. But you think of the great variety of things that we believe, the great variety of the things that we take ourselves to be justified in believing. The Cartesian method doesn't seem to be able to deliver. The Cartesian method of justification seems able to deliver only a small amount of what we take ourselves to be licensed in believing. There's another way of thinking about what we ought to believe that philosophy has also turned up much more recently. It's a method called reflective equilibrium, made most famous by John Rawls in his theory of justice. Rawls thinks that the way to arrive at the right principles of justice is to construct a philosophical theory and see what principles of justice it implies, then to compare the theory and its principles with what we most firmly believe about morality and justice. We arrive at principles of justice, we know we believe slavery is wrong. Arrive at principles of justice, we know that we think religious intolerance is wrong. Okay. Compare the principles and the intuitions, see how they fit. If the principles and the intuitions fit, then all well and good. Our theory is justified, and justified by its coherence. It's fit with the moral and political intuitions that we have. If, however, there's some dissonance between the theory and its principles on the one hand and our deepest intuitions on the other, then we have to choose. We may give up the intuitions, thinking that the theory is too powerful, its arguments too compelling, and its principles too sound for us to hold on to the intuitions in the face of a conflict. On the other hand, we might think, if the intuitions strike us as undoubtedly correct, that we have to give up or tweak the theory in order to accommodate them. When we bring the intuitions, the theory, the principles into equilibrium through reflection, into what Rawls called reflective equilibrium, we have justification and we're entitled to believe the theory in virtue of the equilibrium rather than in virtue of some deductive relationship from claims that we take to be self-evident.